specifically the league race, and you guys, how important is Saturday's game at home against number 2 Houston?
Yeah, I think they are in first place in the league right now. I saw something on Twitter about that. And so obviously it would be big for us just because of the league standings, but also just they're a really good team, so it'd be a great win for us just to put on our resume. I think Coach mentioned it earlier to us about, if we are successful against them, having beat Houston, Tennessee, Kentucky, and UConn, I don't know if there's a school out there that would have 4 better wins than that. And so that would be huge for us, not only just for the Big 12 and just for our momentum purposes, but also looking forward towards March as well.
When you look number 8 versus number 2, spotlight will be on you guys, or the game at least. How do you control your emotions in a game like this where there's a tendency maybe to get really fired up and, I don't know, maybe a little bit too excited or a little bit too?
Yeah, I think that can be very easy for guys. I think there's definitely a balance in it where, you want to control your emotions, but you also want to kind of use that adrenaline and that emotion that you have. I feel like Coach always says, you're going to jump a couple inches higher when you're on all that kind of adrenaline and stuff like that. And so I think it'll be big for us. It'll be a fun game. Like you said, there will be a lot of emotions involved because of the the status of the game and the atmosphere and everything like that. And I think that's why a lot of us wanted to come to Kansas was to play in these games. So it'll be a fun atmosphere for sure.
You guys recently played one very good defense in Iowa State, but how do you approach the challenge of playing a defense that has had as much success this year as Houston?
Yeah, playing at Iowa State I think was a good little test for us and a great, not tune-up game, but I guess it helped us prepare for this game for sure. They're obviously a very good defensive team. I think I see that every other day on Twitter about how great they are defensively, and so I think it'll be very fun for us to go against that defense and kind of see where we stack up in terms of how well they guard and how just solid they are defensively.
What, if anything, did you like about the way you guys played with Kevin out of the lineup the other night?
I think it was just a good, obviously it's not ideal for, one of your best players to be out, but, certain circumstances happen, and I feel like there was a game to miss. Thankfully it was that one because the other guys stepped up and played really well, and so I think it was just great for some guys to get some confidence, especially some of the bench guys coming in and playing really well. I think that was great for them, and hopefully they can use that confidence and that momentum and carry it forward.
As far as your health, your soreness that you were dealing with, is that getting better? You feeling good? You obviously are going full go.
Yeah, no, definitely spending a lot of time with Chad, Mr. Cowgill. He's doing a lot for me. But yeah, like I said earlier, I think a couple weeks ago, everybody's dealing with some injuries nowadays, and so nobody's 100%, and you just got to get out there and give it your all. And so I think I'll definitely be feeling good on Saturday. That's for sure.
One more quick one for me. I want to ask you about the origin of your competitiveness. Do you remember it? Are you competitive like this when you were 6 years old? Like, where does that come from in your basketball life?
I think part of it has to do with growing up with brothers and being the youngest. You're always competing in everything you do, and so I think that has something to do with it. Unfortunately now there's not many things I can do where I'm not trying to compete, whether it's anything little. But I think probably just growing up with brothers and being the youngest and always being the smallest of the bunch until late in life. Then I passed them, but just growing up with them, they definitely didn't make it easy on me, and so I think that's where I got some of my toughness and my competitiveness from.
When we talked to DeWan on Monday, he said he was going to watch the Houston-Texas game. Did you watch that, or how much of Houston have you watched, and what stands out about them to you?
Yeah, I've definitely watched a couple games of theirs. Now that I'm in the Big 12, I definitely try to watch more of the teams because I'm trying to familiar myself with them. And so I've watched a good amount. I know they have two really good guards in Cryer and Shed. But I think somebody who doesn't get talked enough about is Sharp. I think he's done a really good job. And I think those three guards are really dynamic, and they do a really good job being able to create for themselves and others. And I think the other players do a really good job of playing off them. And so offensively, they gave us a really good test. But I think, I think a lot of people are expecting it to be a rock fight, to where, both teams are just playing really hard, really physical, and one team's going to try to make the other team play worse than the other team. So I feel like that's how this game is going to go. But I think we'll be ready for it. It'll be fun.
I think Cincinnati was another team that is really good on the glass. What are some of the points of emphasis for you as a big man when you're going against a team that can really rebound the ball well?
I think it's like a team effort. Everybody kind of chipping in and doing their part in terms of boxing out and rebounding. I think we've done a good job of team rebounding, and I think that'll be definitely tested out there on Saturday, where they have a lot of guys who are very relentless on the glass, and so that'll be very fun and a good test for us, because I don't think we'll play a team that plays harder in terms of going after rebounds than Houston, so it'll be good for us.
Following up with that, they've got some guys probably not quite your height. They're pretty twitchy. Do you approach that a little different than facing the true 7-foot type centers, as far as not letting them get on the offensive glass?
I don't think I'd say I approach it any differently. I know it's going to be pretty similar defensively. I think you alluded to like the rebounding. I would say it's pretty similar. I wouldn't change much of what I do. Just trying to get a body on him as quick as possible, and trying to ride him out there. Not trying to let guys get that inside position outside.
Then El Marco coming on late, really reacted well to the start. What kind of advice or support do you give him, or do the veterans give El Marco, knowing that you really need him, and that his ceiling's pretty high?
Yeah, I mean, I think he kind of knows that he's an important piece to the team. I mean, obviously, just because we have only 9 scholarship guys available, and so I mean, if you just do the math on it, all 9 are going to be integral in what we do, and so for him, just continuing to stay confident in his talent and in what he does, I think obviously making shots definitely helps that, and definitely will improve any confidence for sure. I know, speaking for myself personally, that definitely always helps, but just seeing him play good out there, I think was really good for him, and I think that's kind of what everybody was expecting out of him coming in, and so I think that's a great stepping stone for him, and hopefully he can continue on that, because I know how hard he works outside of practice, and so I think there's definitely some good days ahead for him.
I think the Houston coach, Kelvin Sampson, called KJ one of the most underrated players in the country. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I do actually, because I think obviously myself and Kevin get a lot of attention and a lot of praise, and then Juan obviously does get a lot of praise. I think sometimes he gets a little hate from the KU people, but nationally I think he gets the praise that he deserves. I think KJ probably is the person on the team that's the most deserving of a lot of the attention, because of what he does. And I think it's easy to kind of overlook what he does, because there's a lot of the stuff that he does that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. You'll see him have a game where he has 14 points, 6 rebounds, and maybe like 3 assists, but you don't know everything that he's doing really out there, guarding all 5 guys sometimes on possessions and stuff like that, and really making it easier for guys, especially for myself defensively, and especially offensively, just moving the ball, being so unselfish, getting a ton of hockey assists. I think there's a lot of things that he does that doesn't show up on the scoreboard, and so I think that's why there's a lot of or not scoreboard, the stat sheet, that is why he doesn't get the praise that he deserves.
Hey, I think Matt kind of touched on it. There have been some instances this year where you've been fired up. Example, maybe Kentucky game, right before the half, you hit a big shot and kind of made a gesture. Does Coach Self allow you guys to just play with that personality? I mean, how important is it to be able to kind of be you on the court, not have to worry about, hey, if I do this, I'm gonna. I mean, does he encourage that kind of?
Yeah,
To be fired up, maybe.
I think so. I think he likes it. I mean, I don't think there's been an instance of where like he said to like tone it down. I don't think. I mean, sometimes he'll talk to Kev a little bit because Kev can get a little animated out there, and I don't think it's more getting mad at Kev. I feel like it's more just like trying to make sure he doesn't get a tech because those can be so. They can set you back a lot, especially in the first half, because a tech and you already have one foul and then you get two. So I think it's more just trying to make sure he doesn't get a tech. But I think he's pretty cool with a lot of things. He wants guys to show emotion out there and be fiery and show their competitive side.
What did you think of scoring your 2,000th point so quick in your career, and did you get a lot of praise from people?
I think that just goes to show you, man. I'm a bucket out there for real. Oh yeah. No, I mean, I think it kind of flew under the radar a little bit. I think my dad told me before the game, like a couple days before the game, that I was close to it. I think it probably got overlooked because I transferred, and so people probably, lost the total statistics. But very fortunate to be able to score that and get the 1,000th rebound. Definitely a lot of people had their hand in that success. A lot of point guards that I've played with throughout my career. A lot of guards that have given me the ball. But yeah, no, it's definitely an accomplishment that I'm proud of, and hopefully I can add on to it and have that lead to some more wins for us.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Hunter.